Good evening, Alan.
Hi, Luke.
Alan Quartermaine. I've heard a lot of good things about you from Jason.
You must be Justice. I understand you've been able to unsettle my father at the poker table. That's quite an accomplishment.
Well, if that's true, his poker face is much better than I suspected.
The best in the business.
I'll keep that in mind.
It's kind of a surprise to see the medical wing of the Quartermaines represented.
Moral support for Jason. It's pretty tough to stand up to this family publicly.
Well, we'll take our Quartermaine support wherever we can get it. Or are you in support of the incinerator project?
Monica and I voted against it, but we were overruled. I just want to tell you that we both wish you well.
Thank you.
How is Monica?
She could be better.
I'm sorry.
It's going to take a little while to adjust her chemo, and she doesn't feel well at all tonight. She's very upset she wasn't able to be here for Jason.
Where is Jason?
Hey! Let me out of here! Come on! What is this, some kind of joke? Come on! Hello?
To live here on ABC Daytime.
This meeting will now come to order.
Here we go. Okay.
We can't start yet. Where's Jason?
Relax.
Hello?
Whoa, 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 whoa! Whoa!
Did you let me in here?
Me?
Me? What is this, some kind of joke?
Jason, why would I lock you in the wine closet?
I don't know. Maybe you thought it was funny. Or maybe you wanted to stop me from speaking at the council meeting.
Hey, come on. Look, I think you're entirely wrong about the incinerator project, Jason. But you got your right to disagree. We discussed this, remember?
Who else would do such a juvenile thing?
Grandfather, maybe?
Yeah, Grant. He is a possible suspect. How late is it?
The meeting's already started.
What? I gotta go.
All right.
Mr. Blake. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As most of you are aware, the city's largest employer, the ELQ, has recently purchased property in the Charles Street area with the intent of developing a toxic waste incinerator. Now, I know many of you are opposed to this project. Tonight will help us decide just what the community's best interests are. We will weigh the possible dangers against the advantages of increased tax revenue for the city and jobs. Now, here to address the ELQ proposition is Mrs. Katherine Ashton.
Good evening. As Councilman Blake mentioned, the toxic waste incinerator will bring financial benefits to the city, particularly the Charles Street area, which is in desperate need of an economic boost. The incinerator will provide jobs not only at the plant, which will have to be built, maintained, and operated, with services as well, restaurants, daycare, office supplies. The toxic waste incinerator is environmentally safe.
No way.
Oh,
And will be a boon to a disadvantaged area. Thank you.
Boo!
Boo.
No problem. I'll speak.
Justice, please, allow me.
No, it's not safe. No way.
Not all Quartermaines support this proposal. I opposed it when it was first brought up for a vote at the board meeting. I oppose it now. The incinerator and everything that it stands for. You've just heard Katherine Ashton argue that ELQ is trying to help the Charles Street neighborhood. That is self-serving and dishonest. What ELQ is trying to do is destroy the Charles Street neighborhood for its own purposes. This incinerator project, for all intents and purposes, will change the face and character of what is now a vibrant neighborhood. No, it is not economically thriving, and yes, it does need jobs. But its problems are not so severe that the only solution is to cut its heart out. You need to provide jobs in other ways. But don't turn this neighborhood into a toxic industrial slum. When it comes time to vote on this site, turn it down. Let it remain residential. Let it remain a place where parents can bring up their children in safety. Thank you.
I'm Alan Quartermaine's son, and proud of it. My father said most of what needed to be said, but I'd like to make one more point. The management of ELQ has been dishonest with the public. Now, maybe this is standard operating procedure for business. I don't know. But I personally cannot condone it. The insiders associated within ELQ went through the Charles Street neighborhood secretly buying up the property. Now the sellers, they had no idea about ELQ's plans for the property, or the future value, or the reason it was being bought. The public cannot trust ELQ. Their actions up to this point have been anything but forthright, and I intend to fight them. City Council members, I ask you to vote against the toxic waste incinerator. Thank you. Thanks, Dad. I appreciate that.
I know somebody had to speak. Where were you?
Some joker locked me in the wine closet. If AJ hadn't let me out, I wouldn't have made it at all.
It wasn't AJ, was it?
No, I don't think so.
Man, that's a new low even for Quartermaine standards.
Let's see what the former mayor has to say about these politicians.